Your dog eats grass, chases their own tail, stares at a blank wall at 2 in the morning like they are watching something you absolutely cannot see, and you have Googled it. You have gone down the rabbit hole trying to figure out if your dog is fine, quirky, or quietly losing their mind. Most of what you find is vague. Stress, boredom, see a vet, which yes, sometimes, but that does not explain the specific, strange, deeply committed behavior your dog performs on a regular basis that nobody around you seems to have a satisfying answer for. Today we are going through 9 of them, the weird ones, the ones that make you stop and stare. Each one explained through behavioral science, evolutionary psychology, and what we actually know about how the canine brain works. By the end of this video, your dog is going to make significantly more sense. 1. Eating grass. Start here because it is probably the most universally experienced and most poorly explained behavior on this list. The common explanation is that dogs eat grass when their stomach is upset, and sometimes that is true. Some dogs eat grass rapidly and with urgency before vomiting. This appears to be a deliberate emetic behavior, inducing vomiting to relieve gastric discomfort. But research tells a more complicated story. A large-scale study surveying dog owners found that the majority of grass-eating dogs showed no signs of illness beforehand, and only a small percentage vomited afterward. Most grass eating is not medically motivated. The more current understanding is that grass eating has multiple drivers. Fiber seeking. Dogs instinctively supplement their diet with plant material, and grass provides insoluble fiber that aids gut motility. Ancestral behavior. Wolves and wild canids regularly consume the stomach contents of prey animals, which includes partially digested plant matter. And for some dogs, grass eating is simply enjoyable sensory behavior. The texture, the taste, the act of grazing. It is not a crisis. It is a dog being, in the most fundamental sense, an omnivore with ancient instincts intact. 2. Staring at walls or blank spaces. This is the one that sends people to the supernatural explanation fastest. The dog stares at a corner, at a wall, at a spot on the ceiling, completely still, completely focused on nothing you can detect. The most likely explanation is sensory, not paranormal. Dogs hear frequencies humans cannot. They detect vibrations through surfaces we are oblivious to. They smell chemical traces we have no awareness of. A dog staring at a wall is most likely tracking a sound, a movement, or a scent that is completely real. A mouse in the wall cavity, a pipe vibration, an insect behind the baseboard. The explanation that requires genuine attention is when wall staring is accompanied by disorientation, aimless wandering, apparent confusion, or occurs primarily at night in a senior dog. This constellation of behaviors can indicate canine cognitive dysfunction, the dog equivalent of dementia, and warrants a veterinary conversation. Sound and scent first, cognition if it persists. 3. Circling before lying down. 3 circles. Exactly. Every single time. This one is pure ancestral behavior preserved completely intact across thousands of years of domestication. Wild canids circle their sleeping area to pat down grass and vegetation, check for insects or snakes in the bedding, and orient themselves relative to wind direction for threat detection during sleep. Your dog has a memory foam orthopedic bed. The circling serves no functional purpose whatsoever, but the behavioral program is millions of years old and the nervous system runs it automatically regardless of the actual sleeping surface. It is one of the most beautiful examples of evolutionary behavior in the domestic dog. Your dog is, in that moment, preparing a nest in the grass that exists only in their ancient genetic memory. 4. Suddenly, sprinting through the house for no reason. The zoomies, formerly called frenetic random activity periods. And yes, behaviorists gave them an official name because they are that consistent and that universal. The zoomies are a neurological pressure release, energy and arousal that has been building through excitement, through restraint, through prolonged calm, hits a threshold and discharges all at once through explosive movement. The spinning, the low body, the crazed expression, the inability to stop for approximately 90 seconds. This is the nervous system blowing off steam. Zoomies are most commonly triggered by specific events. Post-bath zoomies are extremely common. The stress and restraint of bathing releases his movement the moment it ends. Post-poop zoomies occur because defecation involves a degree of vulnerability, and the relief of completing it safely discharges as energy. Evening zoomies are often accumulated daytime energy finding its outlet. They are healthy. They are normal. The only safety consideration is managing the environment during them. A zooming dog on a slippery floor near furniture is a bruise waiting to happen. 5. Sneezing during play. You are playing with your dog. It is getting intense, and they sneeze directly into your face, usually with tremendous commitment. This is a communication sneeze, not a respiratory event. Dogs use a play sneeze, a short, sharp, often slightly performative snort sneeze as a social punctuation mark during high arousal interactions. It functions as a reset signal during play. It communicates, "This is still play. I am still in a playful frame. We are good." Behaviorists believe it helps prevent play from escalating into genuine conflict by briefly breaking the arousal cycle and reestablishing the playful register. Your dog sneezing in your face during tug of war is not an accident. It is them doing social maintenance in real time. And now you know to sneeze back. 6. Tilting their head. Possibly the most aesthetically beloved behavior on this list, and the psychology behind it is genuinely interesting. The head tilt occurs primarily in response to sounds that are complex or meaningful but not fully processed. The dog is adjusting the position of their outer ear, the pinna, to better triangulate the source and frequency of what they are hearing. It is active, physical auditory processing. There is also a visual component suggested by recent research. Dogs with longer muzzles may tilt their head to bring the muzzle out of their visual field when trying to read a human face, allowing better sight lines to the eyes and mouth, which carry the emotional information they are trying to interpret. The dogs that tilt most frequently tend to be the dogs most attentive to human communication. The tilt is not adorable confusion. It is effortful, engaged listening. They are working hard to understand you. 7. Leaning their full body weight against you, not a nudge, not brushing past. A sustained, deliberate lean where the dog puts meaningful weight against your leg or body and simply stays there. This is one of the most direct physical expressions of attachment and trust in the canine repertoire. The lean requires the dog to shift their center of balance onto you. They are physically dependent on you in that moment to remain upright. That is a trust behavior. You are their structural support, literally and metaphorically. In some dogs, particularly large breeds prone to anxiety, the lean also has a self-soothing dimension. The deep pressure of contact with another body is physiologically calming, in the same way weighted blankets calm the human nervous system. They are not asking for anything specific. They are simply choosing to be held by the nearest expression of safety available to them, which in their entire world is you. 8. Yawning when they are not tired. You are in a tense situation, a vet waiting room, a new environment, a moment of conflict in the household, and your dog yawns repeatedly while looking perfectly awake. Yawning in dogs is predominantly a communicative and self-regulatory behavior, not a tiredness signal. Norwegian behaviorist Turid Rugas identified yawning as one of what she called calming signals, a vocabulary of behaviors dogs use to communicate non-threat, reduce tension in social situations, and regulate their own arousal levels. A dog yawning in a stressful environment is self-soothing. A dog yawning at a tense human may be doing something more. A de-escalation signal directed outward. I am not a threat. We can both settle down. Contagious yawning, yawning in response to a human yawning, has been documented in dogs at higher rates between dogs and their closest attachment figures than between dogs and strangers. Your dog yawning when you yawn is, in a measurable sense, them resonating with your state. It is one of the quieter expressions of empathic attunement available between two different species. 9. Sleeping facing the door. You look over at your dog in their bed, and regardless of how comfortable the rest of the position appears, their face, and specifically their nose, is oriented toward the primary entry point of the room. This is sentinel behavior, an automatic, deeply wired threat monitoring posture selected for over millions of years of pack living. During sleep, the most vulnerable state any animal can be in, the dog's unconscious nervous system orients their primary sensory equipment, nose, and ears, toward the most likely source of incoming information or threat. The door is where things enter. The door is where the dog points. In a safe home with no real threats, this behavior serves no survival function. But the program runs regardless because evolution does not update based on current circumstances. It updates across generations. Your dog sleeping facing the door is, in the oldest sense, still doing their job, still watching. Still, even in sleep, taking their responsibility to the pack completely seriously. That pack is you, and they have never once considered stopping. 9 behaviors, all of them strange. On the surface, all of them coherent underneath. Drop a comment telling me which of the 9 finally makes sense to you now. I read every single one. Subscribe if you are not here yet because there will be some new videos every week.